Welcome to the Maine Money Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I am joined today by Jordan Maine. He is president of the Maine Financial Group, as well as Adam Freund, CRC with the Maine Financial Group. To our viewers at home, this is where Wall Street meets Main Street. Today's show is very important. We're going to talk to you about some tricky, sticky, messy tax traps that you could fall into if you're not careful. Can you avoid those? Can you take some turns and just kind of twist away from what these tax traps are? We're going to show you some ways today, and it's going to be interesting, informative, and most of all, it's going to be fun. Today's show is going to be fun. Well, gentlemen, I have to ask you a question. First of all, Jordan, how are you today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. And Adam, how are you?
Great.
Excellent. I was hoping for that answer. Well, before we get into the tax traps, I just want to ask you both, what does it feel like when someone comes in for the first time, when they come in to meet with you? Do you give them a hard time? What kind of questions do you ask them? Is it an easy process? Is it difficult? Who wants to take that one?
2 forms of ID, blood test, and I think they're firstborn, right? Isn't that what we do?
Yeah, no,
Fabulous.
Basically, the first gathering is really a fact-finding of information. You know, tell us what you like and what you don't like about your current financial situation. We just like when you go to the doctor's office, you've got to get your height and your weight, maybe your blood drawn, maybe some scans here or there. So that first meeting is really just getting to know each other, and for us to figure out what are the issues you want us to look at.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for not only for them to interview us, but we're basically interviewing them. Is it somebody that we also want to work with?
That's
True.
right.
And, you know, we're not a fit for everybody. I mean, let's be perfectly candid here. You know, that's just the way the world works. But they'll come in, it's nicely laid out. There might be some, I don't know, television show playing on in the background.
Which one?
Some other investment advisor. Us, of course. But we always treat people with respect. And as my dad always used to say, or he still does, you have 2 ears, 1 mouth, so let these do more work than this.
I love that.
Great
Is your dad
advice.
still golfing?
He is still golfing. Yes, he is.
Oh.
Is it 85?
85 years old,
Gosh,
still
he's
golfing.
such a blessing.
Well,
That is
yeah.
amazing.
We're very happy.
Well, we mention him a lot. He's a bit of a mentor to our business, so we rely to, his name is Sherman. We call him the Shermanator.
Shermanator.
So whenever we need business advice, we refer to the Shermanator.
He insists
love
I
that.
call him Dad, though. That's a weird, I don't know.
Dad's good. That
Yeah.
works too. So obviously today's show, wow, viewers at home, I know you have a lot of questions about taxes, about these tax traps. What can you do to avoid them? So the first question overall is, what are some of the most common tax traps that retirees fall into, and why are they so easy to overlook? Gentlemen?
Oh, there's all kinds. So jump right in, right? So
Right.
the first one is that wonderful age 59 and a half. What does that mean for your retirement accounts? If you pull money out before, you're going to pay an additional penalty on top of the income tax that you pay. Then we have all the way to the other side, age 73 it is now,
73,
right?
that's
Which
correct.
is, what is that age, Cynthia? That's when you're required to take out a minimum distribution of taxable income. If you miss that, then you're hit with more penalties, excise tax, as well as income tax. Those are 2 big ones that you toggle. All right, don't pull out money before 59 and a half unless you have a strategy behind it, and make sure you have a plan to take out money by 73.
You know,
Wow, okay.
another area that we also see a lot of, people want to, for some reason, not, they want to wait till they take out their RMD, required minimum distribution, when they turn 73. And they also only want to take out very little, as little as they can, and they want to pass on their retirement account to their kids. They think they're doing them a favor. That's not a favor, is it?
It's a tax bomb to your kids, because if you don't pay the income tax on the IRA, your beneficiaries will.
Yeah.
Because then, didn't they get rid of the stretch IRA? Correct me if I'm wrong. And that basically would fall then into people that were in their high earning years, because typically that's what happens when someone is deceased and they pass that along. So that can bump them into the next tax bracket. Correct me if I'm wrong
Yeah,
on that.
they still they have a 10-year window, which was a stretch IRA. There's some changes around that with the new
Yes.
Secure Act. You still have to have it all out by the end of the 10 years, so you're going to have a big tax impact at some point.
Okay.
And that's a very hot topic within Washington. They keep trying to change that. You know, the other big tax issue that I see, probably, I'm going to go on a limb and say the number one mistake in retirement. I say this all the time. What is it, Adam?
Don't use your retirement accounts to pay for things.
Capital assets.
Capital
right.
assets. That's
So
right.
so many people retire and they think, I'm going to buy a second home, or I'm going to anything that's a big asset, a house or cars or what have you. Because think about it, whatever the cost of that home is, you have to pull out exponentially more to cover the tax.
True.
And those are both assets on your balance sheet. So all you're doing is taking money out of your left pocket, putting it in your right pocket to get another asset out of there. So if you want to buy a $400,000 house, depending on your bracket, you may have to pull out $600,000 or $700,000. And then the other thing is that becomes taxable income to you, which could trigger more problems in other areas of your tax return. So that's the number one rule we say is use your retirement accounts for income. Replace your income.
Yep.
Do not use it to buy big assets.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Another question I have surrounding the RMDs, how can retirees plan to avoid paying higher taxes when required minimum distributions do kick in? RMDs, English version.
Well, I mean, here's the proper planning, obviously, ahead of time before they actually hit 73 would really help a lot. Roth conversions ahead of time can really help a lot. The funny thing is that we come across this all the time. People will come to us and say, I've got $1.2 million saved up for retirement. And we'll say, oh, is that in an IRA or a 401k? And they'll say, yes. I said, well, then you do not have $1.2 million. And why is that?
You have a silent partner in those accounts, Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam, I've heard of him.
Oh, and he or she wants their piece of that pie as well. So, you know, there are all kinds of ways to, if you don't need your retirement account, maybe you have a big pension, maybe you have an inheritance of after-tax money, you want to drain that down, either go to a Roth IRA or spend it down, because for the people that we have I just spoke with a client this morning that said, I'm 60 years old. I don't need my retirement account till 73 when I have to take it out because I have a large pension and other savings.
Yep.
And all you're doing is putting more zeros to a tax bomb that is, you're just going to make your tax problem worse.
Wow.
So the idea is you really want to address that before you retire. But going back to some of the other tax traps, there are a lot of little ones. Like a lot of people now with the cost of living, they pick up part-time jobs in retirement.
Oh, yeah.
And you can only earn a certain dollar amount before your Social Security. You have to start giving some of it back. I think it's 20 or 21,000. It changes every year. So some people don't realize that. Another tax trap. And maybe they are working for a school or helping out. All of a sudden they make $30,000. Well, they're going to penalize their Social Security.
Oh,
so
boy.
those are things to look at as well. All kinds of tax traps that are out there.
Yeah, and I just have to say, when you hit full retirement age, which now for us, everybody in this room is age 67. When you hit that, then you can earn as much as you want.
That's true. Right.
That is
So
right, yeah.
and the last tax trap that got us a few times many years ago is that we have a lot of here in Metro Detroit, the automotive executives that retire, and they have stock options and deferred type of income that has to be exercised within 3, 4, 5 years from when you leave. Well, the issue is if you're not expecting that and you have a big stock option exercise, it throws your income up through the roof that year. Well, wait a minute. If you're on Medicare, what happens? The next year they look at your income and now your premiums you're paying for the Medicare supplement plans. We had someone that was near $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's imperative to make sure that you are in control of your 1040, your tax return, and all sources of income so you don't have these tax traps popping up everywhere.
And just to make sure compliance understands it's a 2-year look back. So if they do it this year or 2 years from now is when they look at them. Yeah.
Good point.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, this is the perfect time for us to take our first commercial break. I know you want to have viewers take advantage of the Main Money Report. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
Jordan, would you like to talk about the Main Money Report before we go to
Absolutely.
the
So the
commercial?
Main Money Report is a written financial plan that's customized just for your situation. So we look at 5 different areas inside of that plan. Do you have an income plan, not an income guess? Where is your income coming from? Do you have an investment strategy set up? Do you have a tax plan? How are we going to reduce or minimize these taxes? Do you have a plan for health care, whether that be Medicare, long-term care, all of those things that can impact your retirement? And at the very end, is your estate plan in line to make sure those assets go to where you want them when you're checking out of this wonderful place we're at? And it's 2 meetings out of your day. The first meeting is to get together, as we talked about, to open the show, just to gather some data. We'll put our customized report together that's just for you. In our second meeting, we'll go over all the results.
Wow, Jordan, thank you so much. Adam, thank you so much. Let me see if I can kind of mimic this because you're doing a great job.
Yeah, I'm Carol Man.
You are wonderful. To the viewers at home, if you want a copy of your Maine Money Report, this is the perfect opportunity to call in to schedule that consultation. Once again, 888-462-7839. If you're running out the door, if you don't have a pen, you can grab your smartphone. Click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page for Maine Financial Group, and you can schedule your time accordingly. Our show today is talking to you about how to avoid tax traps, but there's so much more when it comes to your retirement planning, and you deserve to have the Maine Money Report. Remember, it's complimentary. All you have to do is one thing: call in or snap on the QR code. We'll be right back momentarily.
I was an accountant by trade out of school, out of Michigan State, and I absolutely hated brokers, financial advisors, whatever they want to call themselves. I was a tax accountant, and we would share a mutual client, and this broker would advise our mutual client to buy, sell, and never do any tax strategy, and I was left to clean up the mess. So I went to the client and said, please talk to your broker and tell him to knock this off or begin to do some strategy. And the typical broker response was, I'm not licensed to do that. I can't talk about taxes. So I basically decided to get my investment securities license and all my other licenses out of spite so that we could do all the tax planning as part of the investment strategy for our clients. The value of choice, as we always say, if you go to a big box firm, they're going to have one of 6 portfolios, let's say, and you're going to fit into one of those. The value of working with an independent advisor, especially a fiduciary like we are, is that they have to do what's in your best interest, and they can use any program that's licensed out there in America. So a huge difference. After 20 plus years on this side of the fence, I think our industry does a poor job at explaining to the public the difference of those two. I come from a culture of helping people and educating them, not just telling them what to do. So I think people that truly want to educate make a big difference in this industry.
Welcome back to the Maine Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main and Adam Freund of Maine Financial Group, and we're talking all about how you can avoid some common sticky tax traps. We want to keep you away from those so that your retirement can be peaceful and stress-free. Today's show is very important because people are unaware of a lot of these tax traps that we're talking about. I want to dive right back in and talking about converting a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, how that can help tax burdens in retirement. What are the pros and the cons? Jordan?
The pros of converting the Roth IRA to a Roth IRA is now we paid our tax now, and now that account will, whatever it grows to, never be taxed again. The big con is, you have to pay taxes to get it from a pre-tax IRA 401k into a Roth. So there's a lot of analysis that needs to be done. Do you spread that over a few years? Do you do it all up front? Everyone's tax situation is different. But it is definitely, I would say, the number one buzzword right now of looking at converting to tax-free Roths.
Okay.
And part of the reason is that we thought maybe at the end of 2025, the tax rates were going to go up. Now, it's still kind of up in the air at this point.
Okay.
But the tax brackets, that's what I meant. The tax brackets were going to shrink, which therefore would get your tax. You
would get to the next bracket quicker.
There you go.
Right.
Because I think right now the top bracket is near 700,000 in that area.
Right.
And it's going to revert back to where it was in 2016, which was not half that, but significantly lower.
So this new administration has already said that they're going to try to extend that for at least another 4 years. If that's the case, we have more time to do Roth conversions. We can spread it out a little bit longer. But I know we have a great website, don't we?
Oh, we do. That's right.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
What a great website. Yeah, the maintaxbill.com. we created a easy to use calculator where you only put in a few pieces of information and it will do the analysis for you.
Wow.
You put in your age, your amount of money in your pre-tax IRAs.
Yep.
You put in the return that you think you can get, and you can pick whatever tax rate you think you'll be in.
Okay.
And it will show you if you convert now, what you'll pay in tax, and then it grows tax-free. Or if you don't, if you kick the can down the street, as we say,
Yep.
it'll show at 73 when you have to take the RMDs out. And I think it goes to age 95.
Yes.
And it's pretty shocking to see the difference of taking it on the chin right now and paying those taxes to avoid a lot of taxes in the future.
Are people like overwhelmed when they see the difference after putting their calculations in?
Oh, yes.
I don't think in just having this for a few months launch that we've had one person do it and say, oh, I think I'm going to stay with the IRA and let my kids pay all those taxes. It's astronomical, the difference. And it's a great simple tool because a lot of these tax planning tools get very detailed and can confuse people. And really, to be honest with you, confuse other advisors that aren't certified tax accountants like I am. So I wanted to come up with something that was that anyone could use. You know, I think 95-year-old all the way down to a 15-year-old could probably figure out how to maneuver this few things you put in. So
yeah, and I want to
really
be also
neat.
very clear with the audience out there that when you go to this maintaxbill.com and you fill out that information, it is emailed to you right away. They will email you the report. We will email you the report right away. There's no, what do they call that? 3-card Monte. There's no shuffling the deck or anything like that.
Yeah.
You get that report right away so you can really see how much that's going to affect you and your heirs.
Well, the neat thing too is you can run several and play with the different toggles. So say, what if I get a higher rate of return? What if I earn less of a rate of return? Or what if I go into a higher bracket or a lower bracket? So you can run as many as you want to really it's a huge piece. And I would say even for all the people out there that have investment advisors, go use this tool with your advisor. It'll help that other advisor do their job. You know, we're givers, right, Adam? It's its own website. Anyone can go and use it.
I love that. Maintaxbill.com.
Maintaxbill.com.
Easy to remember.
Easy to remember.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit. What about capital gains taxes? How do they affect retirees who are invested in the market? What strategies can be used to manage or to minimize these taxes? Capital gains.
Yeah, so capital gains is an entire different tax, right? So that only applies to accounts that are not in retirement accounts. So a Roth IRA is all tax-free, so there aren't any capital gains there. And an IRA 401k is all taxable. So it's really that after-tax non-qualified dollars. And the capital gains has really never been lower than it is right now, I think, in our history. So, but there is, for the people that have held a stock for a long time, that issue, they call that what? An unrealized gain. And so now if you do nothing and pass away, currently your beneficiaries gets what's called a step up in basis, and all that capital gain goes away. But they keep trying to change that every year. Same thing with your, I think we have this to talk about later, but I'll jump into it. The people that want to downsize their house, and you know a lot about this.
Yes.
Right size.
Oh,
Right size.
Right size,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
So what if you lived in that house for 30 years and you're going to sell now? Well, two things. You've paid taxes of assessed property values at a much lower rate, right, for all those years. But secondly, when you sell, if you're married filing jointly, you know this, Cynthia, you can protect up to $500,000. You have to live in it 2 out of the last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So all these things. But wait a minute. What if someone's lived there 30 years and they bought the house for $100,000 and now it's worth $700,000? Now we're over that threshold.
Yes.
So those are things that could kick in that would screw up our tax return. And these sneaky little capital gains, they start to pop their heads up.
See, this is why it's important to have him in.
I know.
I mean, he knows all the tax stuff. It's like
Not all of it.
Well, not
Full
all
disclosure.
Of it. Yeah, full
A
disclosure.
wealth of knowledge. Jordan, we should give people the opportunity to grab a copy of the Main Money Report customized just for them. What do you think?
I think that take the time to put together your own financial plan. We can do it in 2 meetings. Is you can't put a value on that. To go through and make sure that your income plan is met, your overall investment strategy is met, that you're dealing with what we're talking about today, taxation. Do we have a plan for all the healthcare things that pop up in retirement, Medicare, long-term care, and is our estate plan in order? 2 meetings out of your life. We'd love to see you come in, meet with this knucklehead and first, and then meet with me second.
I love it. See, now how am I supposed to follow that? I mean, really.
I could come over there and do the same thing if you want me to.
Awesome. To the viewers at home, the number to call is 888-462-7839 to have your very own customized Maine Money Report. This is the opportunity that you have in front of you right now, completely complimentary. 888-462-7839. If you're running out the door, if you don't have a pen handy, go ahead, grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you to the landing page for Maine Financial Group, and you can claim your time accordingly. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're talking more in depth about these sticky, tricky tax traps and how you can avoid them. Stay tuned.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Maine Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main and Adam Freund of Maine Financial Group, and we're talking all about some sticky, tricky tax traps and how you can avoid them and stay out of them. So this next question I have comes to me from people that are actually thinking about retiring early prior to age 59 and a half. What do those folks have in front of them if they want to do any sort of conversions?
Well, there's a couple of issues. First of all, if somebody wants to retire prior to age 59 and a half, or actually wants to do a Roth conversion prior to age 59 and a half, there's an issue. They have to pay the taxes outside of that actual IRA or 401k. Well, they can't really convert a 401k, but an IRA.
Correct.
Yeah. And the reason is that if you take the money, if you use the money inside of the IRA for the conversion to pay the taxes, that's considered a withdrawal, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And that is then a 10% penalty.
Ooh.
So that does not make sense. You have to have the tax dollars in a bank account or even in a brokerage account that isn't a qualified account in order for you to pay those taxes. You can do the conversion, but you have to do it. You have to pay the taxes with money outside of that account.
Well, you don't have to. You can pay the 10% penalty. We had a client that basically made that decision and said, I would rather pay that 10% penalty on top of my tax to get into a tax-free vehicle now versus delaying it until over 59 and a half. So you can do that. I hate to waste tax dollars. So they just will ding you with it's a taxable event plus an additional 10% penalty.
Wow. Okay. Important to know.
Important to know. And the other thing is, if you're retiring early, which we're starting to see a lot more people wanting to do, you do have to have money outside of an IRA, a 401k, in order for you to use to kind of bridge that gap until you turn 59 and a half. And there's a lot. So then it becomes, well, what happens to the market or whatever if my money is still invested in that and I can't get out of that? There are things that can be done. And one of the things that you can do is come and see us and get this report.
And there are a few exceptions of getting money out before 59 and a half in a qualified plan. There's what's called a 72T distribution. There's some limitations around it. So and then if you have some financial hardships and things, there's a lot of little unique things you can, but really if you're going to retire before 59 and a half, you want to make sure that you have a written plan of attack for all your income and all your sources. A goal without a plan, as we say, is just a wish.
Right.
That's true.
You need to have a plan to get to that goal.
Or a failure to plan is a plan to fail.
Ooh, there's a good one.
That's true too. Very, very good. What about when it comes to charitable contributions and qualified charitable distributions? How can retirees manage their tax liabilities?
Yeah, so A lot of retirees are already at what's called standard deduction, so they've got the big, I think it's 29,000, a little bit above this year. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's right around there. And so they can't take advantage of some of those deductions on what your Schedule A, so your local church giving or your university giving. But you can do some things out of your IRA as well to avoid taxes. If you have a big IRA or 401k that's been converted to an IRA you don't need, you can do charitable giving through your retirement account and avoid those taxes and send it to it's got to be a charity to receive that. So there are some unique things through there. You can also do some planning. They have a charitable lead trust, charitable remainder trust, a life insurance trust, which is called an ILIT. There are all kinds of things that your estate planning attorney can help, and then we work with those attorneys.
The Adam Freund charity would be more than happy to. Oh no, wait a minute. Haven't started one
That's
of those
a joke.
yet.
Compliance.
That's a joke.
Oh, well, what about how does estate planning factor into helping avoid retirement tax traps?
Yeah, I think that you have to start with income first. I mean, income is really the outcome, right? And so once you have your income met, now you can start repositioning the other assets in tax type of charitable trust and other things. But you can't really do those maneuvers until you know that you've got a solid income plan. So we always say that start with the income as the outcome.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And then once again, everybody can go to maintaxbill.com to learn what their true tax liability would be, right?
That's correct.
That's for the Roth, it's just
For the Roth
specifically for
conversion.
Roth conversions, but it is a
Perfect.
great tool if anyone is considering. I mean, it's worth it even if you haven't considered it to go plug in those 3 or 4 numbers and see what your conversion would look like.
Yeah, and it's not in jibber jabber either. It's plain English, so you're going to understand it. Absolutely.
And it'll help people really have peace of mind if they're confused about what their tax liability would be. Well, Jordan, obviously only a minute and a half left of this show today, but let's talk about what people are going to call in for to get one of their main money reports. What can they expect when they come into the office to receive this?
Absolutely. I think it's upside down. 2 meetings, as we said earlier in the show a couple times, out of your day to see this handsome young man, to come in and talk about what you like and what you don't like about your current financial plan, or maybe you don't even have a financial plan. We then will ask a lot of questions, gather data, put together your own customized report, kind of like coming back to the doctor to get all the results. We won't make any recommendations. We aren't soliciting anyone. There's no signing of paperwork. It's the first 2 meetings are pretty much to show you where you are and what path you're on, and to make sure that inside your plan you have, as I've said, I'll keep beating a dead horse here. You've got to have an income plan, not an income guess. You've got to have an overall investment strategy, your risk and non-risk investments. You've got to have a plan for taxation. We've got to look at healthcare, Medicare, and long-term care, and we need to make sure that estate plan is all zipped up.
In that second appointment, we will go over the 200 pages individually. We will not.
So plan 8 hours. Jordan, thank you so much. Adam, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, the number to call is 888-462-7839. You deserve to have your main money report customized just for you. Thank you for spending time with us today. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today on the Main Money Show.